Let's do it.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Ice Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine Ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. In the darkest of nights, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. I'm becoming fearless.
What is up, everyone? It's your main man, your sorcerer supreme, right here each and every Saturday night on YouTube. How's everybody doing? I'm here with my ethereal translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone. I'm going to try to turn her up. She's not feeling well tonight.
I have a bad cold. I feel crappy and I'm cranky.
Crappy and cranky.
I have the makeup on.
Uh-oh.
Look terrible.
That's how it goes down. That's all right. The main man's right here with you.
Oh, Frank took such good care of me. I couldn't do anything
Frank
yesterday.
Castle, sending you positive vibes. I would like to ask also, before we start the show, send positive vibes to Grandma Viola.
Yes, please.
She's literally now on her way out. She's on the constant morphine until it's over.
Yeah.
So if you could just send positive vibes, I'd appreciate it so much. Of course, naturally, we have a full moon. We have a cat ripping through the window right at the beginning of the show.
I'll get it.
During these cycles, something that's been presented to me over and over again that I've noticed are cycles, patterns and cycles and patterns. And it's pretty crazy. I'm going to ramp up a little bit tonight. Sorry, it's a little warm, muggy, weird here. Everybody's acting kind of crazy. And just to give you guys a shout out and let you know, Fearless Family now has a portal on Amazon. So for the people that asked me, what microphone do you use with Paula?
Oh, yeah.
You know, what is this thing around the mic? It's a pop filter. And what do you read? The emerald tablets. What do you have on your wall? A post, like a full color sculpture portrait of the Horus Eye. It's all linked in the description. So if you can like, subscribe and share, touch those buttons, right? Spread it around a little bit, then go down, check out the link. If you shop through the link, it'll help support the Fearless Family. Amazon just cut you a little something. So go into the portal and check it out. Yo, so let me just say, it got hot, cold, to the point of like 35 to 40 degree temperature swings with rain.
I know. I've been shivering and sweating for 2 days.
And yeah, well, I'm saying it hit us like really hard. And what wound up doing is driving everyone's immune systems crazy. And then boom, everyone's sick. And it was funny, one complication after another. But through them, with just a little bit more breathing and understanding, a little bit compassion. Don't let them step on that.
Oh, okay.
Don't let them step on that. Full time. When you're a leader, it's full time, right? Pops know, moms know. It's full time. Say what's up to everyone, little bear. Show them your face.
No.
Show them how good the eye looks. So I want to say thank you to everyone that threw up donations last week.
Oh, yes.
You're actually getting Reggie spayed on Tuesday.
One of the kittens, and we're trying to catch one of the mamas, but one of the kittens is going on Tuesday. So thank you.
Yeah, we have an extreme explosion
sorry,
of cats here. Yeah, but you
I
got to
don't
try.
feel good enough. I am trying.
Try.
I'm
Harder.
Can't breathe. I'm all
No. Paula
congested.
slept for 18 hours straight, and that's when I knew she was sick.
I still feel terrible.
The cold kind of hit us pretty hard. It went around the gammy, and then Grammy went into the hospital, and just one thing after another. But during that time, right? Because these times are crazy. It's just what it is, right? Like we were told it was going to be like this. So we were shown it was going to be like this. Now you're in it and you're like, I can't believe it. When is the portals going to open and take us to fucking Xenu 7? Oops. One of the things I was trying not to do was curse in the opening tonight, and I just let it out.
Just don't do it again.
Sorry for the sciencing. So yeah, YouTube seems to be censoring me and my monetizations every time I let F-bomb fly. So I've decided to not really try to do that, but it's difficult when you're surrounded by the intensity that I am right now, and not send out weirdo vibes right back at it. So during these times, we take a breath, right? It's the same exact situation they've always been, right? They're just upgraded now. It's almost like we've seen this before. It's happened already. Other people were sick and died, and you saw the pattern, or where everyone starts to get sick, and then like I was saying to you, last year at this time, I think it was about this time I was sick where I was throwing up for 24 hours.
Yeah, you said, because you said, I don't want this September to be like last September.
The patterns are absolutely insane. Now you're the one that noticed that. And I said, well, damn, we're in like August. I don't want to go through this again.
I think it's a purge, though.
So I believe it's a purge as well, but it's also, however the sickness is being delivered to us and being passed around.
Oh, thank you for the healing.
However it's being passed around, you're still almost contracted to get it unless or until you raise that vibration high enough where, like, the cold now hit me and it only lasted 3 days. I like slept it off. Now it was the same exact thing as before, as it always is, except this time it didn't take me down. It's taken everybody down. Now I'm starting to see how we're building the resistance to all the different defects in the environment, because they're spraying and they're putting it in stuff and things are being activated. I'm positive, because the got cold. It's not cold weather just doing it, right? The drop in weather. It's the cold, it's the rain, it's the wind.
It's a perfect storm.
Right. And it's blowing all that stuff around. Chemtrail clouds are everywhere. Then the next thing you know, everyone's sick. Oh, look at that. Flu season. Let's rush to the doctors and take flu shots and give ourselves the version of the flu that we already know is not going to show up. And then you get sick, and then the flu comes, and then you get sick.
Right.
We're in that season, right? Kids rushing to school.
No, I feel terrible. I feel, I think I was fighting this in the beginning of the week, and then I think I tricked myself. I thought I was feeling better, and then it just hit me yesterday, and now I'm slammed. But what are you going to do?
Well, we're going to work through it. That's what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we say, well, this is just what happens every September or every whatever, then we fall victim to whatever it is that's occurring. And you just like, oh, well, I give into it. But when you start to notice that the sicknesses are creeping up, what are some things you can do to help yourself? We didn't really know out of nowhere, like this just kind of hit us. You can exercise, chicken soup, tea tree oil, essential oils.
Wash your hands all the time.
Wash your hands. Don't use the antibacterial soap. I use defense soap. I find that it works great, and it gets rid of all the crappy bacteria and keeps all the good bacteria. So, if that was the case as well, you can have healthy gut bacteria by putting the probiotics into your system. Take down for said sinus infection, take a little turmeric with cumin in, activate it with some pepper. Drink lots of water, even if it's necessary. Alka-Seltzer Cold and Plus with sinus, right? Like build towards it before you need to just, embrace yourself with it. But load yourself with vitamin C, knowing the pattern this is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you
We
can
know the
prepare for
pattern.
it,
So
yeah.
then
I just
during
got
these
slammed,
times,
yeah.
well, I'm
No, but
I'm
you're
just
right.
playing around. I'm
No,
just saying,
oh, no,
we
no,
know
but
September
but
people get sick when
you're
school
right.
starts.
You know what to do. Yeah, and all your
Right,
kids are
so
going back to school.
why
Of
not,
course you're gonna get sick.
like August 22nd,
Yeah,
start
pounding vitamins
pounding
and
out vitamins
C
and just doing like a month straight of fasting and vitamins and good stuff, so you can zinc enhanced and vitamin C. Thank you. And then kind of fly through
right.
that time, or because some of us just don't get sick. You're just really awesome at your immune system. You got a killer immune system. Some of you could touch it, right? Put it in your mouth. 2 days, you're fine, right? Someone like me would do something like that, and I'm down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Well, this was 2-3 days, right? So I was like, oh, interesting. It always hits you like a day or two later than me. See, the problem is we're trying not to get people sick, like my grandparents and stuff, right? They can't get sick on top of being sick.
So if we're sick, we can't go over there. So we try
Right.
not to get sick because then we can't see them.
And then it just launches a problem
Whatever.
round and round and round. But as you can see,
Sucks.
just like traffic, it's another thing that has to end.
Yeah, you know.
The whole disease function, because we know it's a chemical cocktail that they're using on us to get us this way, or they're sending the virus right out there. Who knows anymore? It's probably all real across the board, right?
I think it's all real. You know that. We had this long discussion before about it. I think it's all real. Anything that you can think that has already been thought of, it's all real.
Yeah. It's been thought of. It's been done
Over and over and over again.
We're just like rediscovering.
Mhm.
That's another thing about these
Yeah.
patterns and the portals. Like people say, like, oh, the portals are going to open with the full moon. I heard one of the hosts say on some random station, oh, the portal's going to open and rapture us and suck us up into the fifth dimension. I'm like, well, you're kind of doing it all wrong by saying stuff like that. You sound like a dummy. And the portals are open. You're not going to see them open yet, but they're always been opening.
Right.
They're always closing. They're always reinstituting on another level
Different
and another
times in
layer.
different places. And
Like a clock face,
Mhm.
the portal's open. It allows energy to come in. It doesn't suck you up into it and change you into a fifth dimensional being. No, that's the universal clock face moving. We're all moving, right? So, I keep forgetting we're on camera. So now the hand gestures work perfect. So as the planet's moving, because it moves, we're moving
That's
because
right.
we move. The whole that whole system of planets that moves and spins in whatever direction, then whatever galaxy, I guess that's the next thing, the galaxy that's moving and spinning. You know, when you peel back from the universe, where I wonder where they get this picture from, but you peel back and it's all encased in like a giant disc of sorts with like that bubble top and the bubble bottom. It looks like that. It almost looks like Saturn, but it's everything in one. And it's like, here's the picture of everything. And you're like, holy shit. It really looks like an information disk of some kind, or some information sphere you could just kind of shove into something. So as above, so below. So I'm watching this and the portals are opening and the energy is flying in and people are going, there's no portals taking me away. And you got people going, there's no such thing as portals taking you away. Meanwhile, the portal's sucking all the dark energy
away,
and allowing for the change and the transfer. Yeah. And you notice people getting crabby,
which
and
is
cranky.
why you're even questioning it, because
yeah.
it's happening for you, and that's why you're even questioning.
You're in no control of this stuff.
That's the funny part.
And it's like part of the environment, the working system. As the seasons change, everything else changes too.
Yep.
Okay, so things like black holes are like ways to move the energy around, to pull stuff in and transmute it, send it back out somewhere else to make it come back around. There's energy coming. They're going both ways with that. Kind of like, let's turn on the black holes. Let's build the universe. Let's put it there, and then flip on the black holes, and then they're all in different sectors and in different sections, and they're all lined up. And when you activate them, it spins everything in the universal clock face the way it's supposed to spin. And then sometimes you're coming in a little too strong. We slow that down over here. We close it up. We give you a little time to do what you got to do with the energy. People talk about the spheres and the beings in the spheres and where they come from and what are they doing out there. We spoke about this, how the spheres were around the sun, pulling in those energies, because we were supposed to have done this a long time ago. They've been holding back our evolution. All right, this is where we don't know, wherever the deception took up, wherever the takeover occurred, right? So we're kind of unsure about that. Like in the Matrix, this is the 5th time or the 6th time you've been doing this and you didn't know. And it's like, wait, what?
We could have been doing it hundreds and hundreds of times. We wouldn't know.
We wouldn't have
We
a
wouldn't have
clue.
known. Right.
They just, the more things change, the more they stay the same. They're just changing the picture on the monitor and feeding you more and more distractions, right?
Yeah.
And fear porn. I was in my house and they were watching the news, and it's like they were bullet noting 3 things on tonight on the news. Boy runs over by a car. Old man shot. Cat kicked in the balls. News at 11. And I'm like, what is going on here? Change that. And my mother's like, man, I'm just watching the news. Man, I'm like, yeah, I think you should stop, because everyone thinks if you go outside, all these terrible things are occurring, and there are bad things going on, but you're generating them. There's stuff in Georgia has no business on my TV, because I there's not enough neurons in my brain to process my stuff here in the Bronx and process what's happening in Florida.
But if you have people in Georgia, you'd want to know, right?
I'm not saying that they're only taking the bad thing.
No, I know. It's the highlight.
You don't hear
I
like
know.
Georgia kid wins spelling bee, saves puppy, rescues cat out of a burning tree, walks old lady across the street, awarded with a McDonald's burger that's totally organic and good. I don't know. You know, I got to hear about trophies for 10th place and all this other nonsense that goes on.
Why? We celebrate mediocrity in this house all the time.
They're kittens. It's okay. I'm just saying, as we're being fed this, the loops and the spinnings and the positionings are changing, and those energies are coming in, but you can't, like, you have a voltage in you, but you can't stick your finger in an electric socket without expecting to be shocked.
Right.
But you're still housing electricity within you.
Your girl is coming because I'm sitting on her chair. She's mad.
The monster boom bap is on its way.
So Roxy, my cat for many, 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 many years, loves Frank, and I think she's in love with Frank, and she's Frankie's girl.
Oh, that looked like Orca just coming by, right? Swimming under the boat.
She's a fat bottom girl. And she loves Frank so much that when Frank sits at this desk, she has to sit right next to him in the other chair. So I never get to sit in the chair. Frank has to get a folding chair.
Shout outs to Ra, my man. Eye of Ra is in the room.
And she is, she's not very happy that I'm sitting in her chair right now, because usually Frank gets an extra chair so she could sit in it during the show.
I have to, because she wants to sit next to me.
Yeah, so you know what you got to do.
So I just want to tell you more. Whoa.
Oh,
I want to tell you
she's letting her presence
a little
be
bit
known.
more about crazy and manifestation. So Ra asked me one day,
come over here.
He says, man, it would be great if I could live or be near you. Find a place and see if there's any places for rent. And I was laughing. I'm like, oh, there's always place for rent around here, blah, 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 right? So then I'm like, can't find one that's worthy. I'm like, there's nothing, man. Ever, the local newspapers aren't advertising the other apartments. Usually, like, you have a house apartment, like downstairs, you redo the basement and everything. And sometimes you get like a nice 2-bedroom, and it's really nice around here, right? I walk outside the other day and I forgot who I was talking to. I think it was my mother. Oh, was it me and you when I started taking pictures? I literally walk out of my house, look across the street, and it says apartment for rent in giant letters with this big smiley face. And I was like, so I snapped a picture of it and sent it. And then even funnier, even though it's not a worthy apartment, right literally next door to me, there's a 3-bedroom apartment. It's probably mad expensive though. But it's right next door. The other one's across the street. So in less than a month, both things opened right in front of me in a position where I was like, that ain't going to happen. Just like the cat help that we needed. Just like
came in just when we needed it.
Just like a whole bunch of other things. When you're wondering, where's that going to come from? How's it going to get here? We kind of sit back in it and go, look, I'm not sure, but I'm going to roll with this flow.
Yeah.
Eventually something's going to happen. Now, there's a difference between that and being lazy about it.
Oh, absolutely. One is manifestation. You're making things happen because everything that you're doing,
your intent
is guiding that. Yes, you're putting your intention into that. When you're being lazy and you're just saying the universe owes me, or the universe is going to give me.
Well, when are you going to do this? I hang out with Frank or something like that.
Doesn't work like that. You got to put the work in. Lady, I gave you a chair.
And that's the hard work that we talk about when everyone's like, hey, what's with the hard work and that you keep talking about?
You got to put the work
in. I'm like, it's a mental derivative. So
can't think those unnecessary Terrible
Like you got to
thoughts.
try, like
Yeah,
me, not
try.
not cursing tonight. All right, I let one F-bomb out. Fine. The last few shows, I've let out a lot, and I'm disgusted at myself. But I'm going through the changes. Those portals
Right,
are
we're
opening.
trying.
That stuff's being sucked out of me, just like everything else, and I'm fully aware of that. But when we're in it, sometimes we lose the ability to have the sight on that. Can you get your butt off
She
my
wants
microphone?
her man. I'm not getting up. I gave you a chair right there.
The trivial things we go through as
Oh
giant
my
cat
goodness.
people.
She loves him so. She's in love with him. She really gets jealous when we're together. Like if we sit on the couch, she sits between us. She lays across his feet so we can't walk. And now she's mad because I'm sitting in the chair. Too bad.
It happens.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to just hold your position as an alpha,
You know,
and you don't even question it.
we had this talk earlier, didn't we, about like the people we were having issues earlier this week with some disagreements in the group, in the FearLess group. So if you're looking, to enter the group, you have to answer the question now. Now there's no question at all. You have to answer the question if you want into the group. So we were having issues earlier with a couple of group members, and yeah, I have to stay neutral all of the time. I make my comments, I say what I have to say, we address issues, but I have to stay neutral.
So is that you're taking a neutral position on Roxy?
I have to take a neutral position on Roxy because Roxy loves you, and I understand that this is how women feel about you, and I have to take this neutral position because Frankie, everybody loves Frankie. And I have to understand
Everyone loves
this.
Paula too.
Oh, not like they love Frankie.
Yeah, it's a different kind of love.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
It's a DNA thing.
Yeah, okay.
So shouts out to all the FearLess family, everyone watching, everyone joining in. It's great that you're here. I enjoy having you. I enjoy being with you on Saturday nights. It's very important to me. It's very important to us.
It is.
That
It
the
is
information,
important.
like
And
we've been having fun. I
is.
know when we talk about cats, everyone laughs and everything. But listen, it's unfortunate for those that don't like it because the ayahuasca and the beings, and we're going to get into some beings tonight because I've had some issues. Like you can't, they go hand in hand,
Mhm.
right? So you want certain things, like I want to see like you see. I'm like, well, do you do the things that I do to help myself in those situations? Like, do you ask permission? Do you let them know you're coming? Do you we're representatives of Gaia? We're like ambassadors to the planet itself.
Have to be.
So if you're doing something and it involves her, but you're not, I don't mean to be. Could you grab me some?
Yeah, I
more?
can grab you.
Delicious.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you're not getting the permission, like we went to the ayahuasca ceremony in Pennsylvania, and I was talking out loud. Thank you, Vanessa. Much love to you too. Thank you so much. FearLess love. I was talking out loud, and I had my back turned, and I had the little shaman shawl thing that I wear, and I just had my hands up. So during that time, they were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, did anyone ask permission to even be here to do this? Like, did anyone ask the resident of the mountain top piece that we're on? Like, did you think about that? Because we don't think about these things. We walk in and we're just like the universe owes me, right? Like I'm here. What's up? What's up? What's up? And then you can watch people having good and bad times and wondering really what type of personality was that? Is he grateful? Is she not grateful? Is what's happening here? So just sometimes a little heads up. It's a little more dramatic as a shaman because I'll just start talking. I'll just be like, excuse me 1 second. Listen, we're here. Hello. I love you. And I don't have an embarrassment about it, but then things go fantastic. I connected to a dragon. He was black. He had black scales. It's something you would think is completely dark, right? Completely not dark. Right. Completely not. Very happy to see us. Thank you for that. We received the love on your way and knew you were coming, and here it is for you. And then everything went fine, right? There's no bear, there's no bees, there's no bug bites all over the place, there's no fires, there's no accidents falling on the balcony. you wouldn't think, but there are other things that involve themselves. And if you don't kind of come in and respect that the way you respect yourself, you know, you get a different atmosphere for sure.
Mhm.
Right before the show, I lit sage, rang the bell. Oh. You can tell him what I'm doing.
Oh, he's lighting the candle. He's lighting the. I'm sorry, Frank. I don't feel well today.
Well, you gotta talk.
I'm trying, Frank. I'm trying.
It's like working with the person trying to put the box up, and they're going, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Well, I'm trying." I'm like, "No, you got to pick it up and put it over there." Okay, excellent. So I, you know, a few instructions on the evening. I'm only teasing you.
I
So
know.
to clear the air, you sage. I sage myself first. Then I sage Paula. I sage the rest of the room. I clang the bells. I use the two different sages, the Palo Santo and regular sage. I guess it's white sage. And then I was told, don't forget to light the candle. And I go outside before every show, and I say, look, I'm going to invite in. I'd like to invite in my ancestors connected to my DNA that are of the highest frequency, that want to help come in and help me teach, learn, and learn, teach. Right? Because we didn't really have I wrote some stuff down, but we really don't have a topic for tonight, except the things that are going on.
Because we didn't. Yes, we didn't have a topic. Yeah.
Well, because it's been a crazy week.
Yes.
But one thing we do know, right? So check it out. We know that the portals are opening. We know that it's a full moon. We know that the energy's high.
Right.
We know that they're taking the restrictors off. We know because at the level we're at, everything we're aware of brings us to a new awareness of something bigger and more grand, even though it might be the most minute detail in something.
Right.
You know, things you barely catch out of the corner of your eye that you're really never aware of now comes front and center, and you find the other thing next to it. Well, what about this? So it's almost like as the more aware you get, the more it's in the details. Like I noticed this sitting here, the cup cracked, and I was like, how did that happen? And I actually remembered how it happened.
Did you really?
Yeah, I slammed the cup by accident when I pulled a Josh, and I spilled some coffee, and I moved the cup and slammed it, but I never noticed it. But I remember doing it. It's just weird. So awareness, very little things come jumping into the big thing. And then you say, oh, well, down to that detail. Well, if I knew that detail, let's say in a conversation I was having and I was a little too emotional,
right,
I would have dropped that down 10 notches.
Right.
Because
I would have realized.
Yeah. I would have had a better understanding of what you're actually speaking of, not taking offense, not being triggered, not looking to just be heard, but having a back and forth.
Yeah, because it's a give and a take. You have an opinion and I have an opinion, and then we meet somewhere in the middle.
Well, it's an energy exchange.
Yeah.
Right? I give to you, you give back to me.
Absolutely.
Right? And are we turning that voltage on too much? And it's like, but I can turn it on that much. That doesn't mean maybe you should turn it on that much. Maybe knowing you can turn it on that much puts you in a place of responsibility to know that pretty much no one else can. So you just tone it down and make it a little like this. Right. Lots of these experiences this week, and then not emotionally activating into the crazy direction and now this took a little bit of a pace, but it worked. Like, let's not just do it right now. I got to have the answers now. I need to know what's happening. Like, you can't always do that right at that moment, right? Because everyone's flaring. Everyone wants to be heard. So you tone that down. You let a day pass. I took a day off. I sat in the grass.
Yep.
I had a good meal. Smoked the joint.
Say nothing, do nothing.
Yeah. I literally didn't even think of you.
Pause.
Yeah. A pause moment. Remember I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Taking that moment.
Yeah.
You could literally, if you could stop time for a moment, right, in your breath, and time slows down for everything around you, wouldn't you use that to help yourself? If you could only use it to help yourself, let's not be ridiculous and say, well, I'll rob the bank. Let's just say someone asked you a question and you're on the spot and you feel the heat rise from within and you're like, I don't know. But you know the answer, but you're just bugging over the first few seconds. You feel that vibration. You get the question, all eyes are on me. See, there's all these things happening. But if I just take a second and try to recognize what's happening here, that a blank stare and a breath is better than any freak out or emotional lash out that you can imagine. It empowers you to just take a breath. Let me think about that. Okay, well, let's go for it.
Right.
And then you answer. Whew, I brought my own.
Yeah.
Like I brought the coffee zone down a notch just from thinking like that. But you know how many times I had to get yelled at or told, hey, something, and then recognize I was contributing in a negative way to something else. To bring that in and go, okay, let's get rid of all that stuff. So when does all that stuff leave? During the portals of the full moon. It's like a recycling.
Purge, yeah.
It's like when you put out your trash every Thursday night.
Yep.
Right? Because you know Friday morning, first thing, they're coming to take they're taking the cardboard and they're taking the cans and paper. And then the truck will come and take the actual garbage a little bit later in the day. So it happens every single Tuesday and every single Thursday. So why wouldn't it happen?
Yeah.
Right? As above, so below.
Why wouldn't it happen?
Because we have sanitation. Sanitation doesn't work on another level. We got to keep things moving. How do you think you transmute? You open a portal and you send something through. No matter how you do it, whether you eat it, which I don't suggest, you hug it, you send love at it, you grab it, you twist it, slingshot it through what? Into the infinite light? It's going through a portal to get there.
But we do eat it. That's the problem. We do eat it and we push it down and we don't talk about it and it festers. And every time we see the point of contention, we see that person or that thing or that we realize what the trigger is, we have to get that out. Now, when you get it out, you have to be responsible about the way you get it out because it has to leave and it has to leave for good. It can't stay. You don't need it. You got to get it out. Process it. Thank it for what it did for you and push it out and move on. That's what has to happen.
And you're right. Rituals can be habitual. We everything's a ritual. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, right? You eat cereal, eggs, or this, right? Each choice you make turns into a new ritual of how are you doing this? Well, I got to crack the egg, I got to put it in here, maybe mix it, throw some other stuff in there, heat up the pan. What are you actually doing? You're going to go, well, I'm just eating. No, you're alchemizing. You're literally changing this into this so it could go into this to make this. Crazy, right? Isn't that just crazy?
It is?
Yeah. We have a cat jumping around behind me.
There's a cat everywhere.
So when you understand that and you're aware of that, you can start adding your stuff into the details in there. In other words, you get more aware. How many times have you scrambled eggs?
Oh, we were just talking about this. Yeah. How
like
many times have you cooked an egg? Yeah.
Right. So how many times did you take the opportunity to add salt, pepper?
Right. To do it right.
Sauce,
how many times did you take the opportunity to do it right?
Yeah. Like, or are you just making it? What is your process? Are
you putting love into it? Or you're putting hatred into it? If you don't like doing it, then why are you doing it? Well, I gotta eat. But if you don't like what you're cooking, you're poisoning yourself with your own cooking. So, oh boy. If you don't like cooking, then don't do it. If you're angry, like Frank and I talk all the time. That's like, I tell him, don't start an argument with me before dinner because I can't cook. If I'm angry, I can't cook. I'm not going to poison the food that I'm eating with my anger.
And you'll find that in people's homes where there's a lot of anger or misery
heartburn,
or sorrow,
indigestion, upset stomach. A lot of that is because you're poisoning your own food. You're putting the intention into your food. And it's not a good thing. So I don't cook when I'm angry. I try not to even eat when I'm angry because I know how my body's going to process it. It's going to process it into memory. And those memories are hurtful or hateful memories. So don't do it. You're better off not even doing it.
Absolutely. I was thinking about this, the difference between like having this knowledge and using the knowledge, right? So a lot of folks out there, a bunch of you that are listening, I'm sure, and a bunch of you that are not, but we've all been like this, that you think, let me absorb all the information I can from every single show. and let me find all the stuff I can, information. And you're getting all this information because you always want to hear about the next cool thing, the next cool story.
Right.
But what are you doing? Right? Knowing that information doesn't mean anything because you're not doing anything with it. Knowing it doesn't get you anywhere. Does it just knowing it? Like, okay, to a degree, but really? If you're asked to do something to change your ritual because it's not correct, wouldn't you change your ritual?
If it's not working for you, it doesn't have to be correct. If it's not working for you,
Well,
right?
whatever correct is to you.
Yeah,
Correct is
you know,
whatever it is to each
like,
individual alchemizing their own thing. So I don't want to get caught up in the nuances of this.
If it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. You know, that's how we look at it. How does this make me feel? How will it make someone else feel? How will it make Frank feel? That's the question. How does this make me feel? How will it make him feel? And then I start there. And then I start pulling apart what I have to before I make any decisions.
Right. Well, I start to get more involved with myself. And one of the new things lately is I'm noticing a lot of people come, right? And then they fall off, right? Which is fine. They're in their pattern or they're in their path or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But we hit a checkpoint with us where
Oh, you
it's
mean
like,
to the FearLess group?
you don't have to mention a thing. I just mean in life.
Oh, in life. Oh, yeah.
Right? Where
People come in and out of your life. Yeah,
and
we were
then
talking about this the other day.
I
too.
personally go through a checkpoint where I close down. Right? Like, I don't need any more Fearless family members. Listeners are great. People out there, I'm the Fearless family. Fine. I'm talking about like tight knit around me. And then you're like, well, what's that about? Well, I'm going to explain. There's only so far I can get with you once I've given you the information. I've given it to you. You have enough information from this show to ascend 10 times over. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You go into that Fearless family group, everything you'll need right there. And then all you do is flip it somehow your way. And there is no wrong way. And there's way more information than even that what's in the Fearless group.
Right.
And then you just add what's good to you.
Right.
And then live your life. Don't worry about aliens showing up. They're coming. Don't worry about that. The galactic timer is going off. But you need to get right. And if you're not right inside, I was telling my grandfather this, if you don't wake up in the mirror and look in the mirror and say to yourself, at least greet yourself. And let's say you go, my mother was talking like, oh, if I ever get like X, Y, and Z, I want you to get rid of me. Like, I'm give you permission to take me out or I'll take myself out. And I go, don't say that. And then she goes, no, I know. You'd wind up having to start over. I go, let me just tell you something. You take yourself out, right? And let's just say the recycling program was there. You'd be tossed right back in and you'd be in a life where you have no choice but to find self-love, or it will always feel like it's out of your grasp unless you go to it and bring it in and make it your life. I feel like they recycle you to get back the stuff you lost. Like you didn't even try to pass that class. You just kind of closed it down and moved on. But you can't go A, C, S, Z and think that you're okay with it.
Can't fast track it.
No, there's no fast track. You have to do what you have to do.
And that a lot of the times that means push through the pain.
Yeah. Right.
Get to the other side of the pain, because that thing that's stopping you is stopping you because it hurts to look at it or to push past it or to get around it. So you can't go any further unless you push past it, whatever that thing is. That's just what you have to do. That's what we all have to do in this life.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're just in that loop.
Now, like with the Fearless group, we just do it together as a collective. We're like, I have to do my own stuff, but then I bring it forward to the group and say, this is what I did, or this is my thoughts. And then I hear from someone else, because there's others just like me everywhere, and everyone's like me, everyone, except we're just popping off at different times.
Right.
So we present the story or the lesson. You can accept it, not accept it, listen to it, change the channel. It becomes on you. And you hear something, you're like, oh, I never thought of that. You know what? I'll do that. Add flour to making this. And you're like, oh, I never added flour to that. Or add like a little bit of Tabasco sauce. It'll change the function of the whole thing.
Right.
So we're watching that with each other and just learning and growing. It's not like a victimization thing where, oh, poor me, I have a hard life. We all have hard lives. We're all going through something. Like my mother was saying this, like her hard life, she keeps comparing me to her, to my brother. And she's like, well, at least your brother's got kids, but you got cats. And then I have death. And I go, no, you're my mother.
You have
She's my
everyone.
mother.
You have all of us.
He's my grandfather, my dad. So with that function, you're never alone. So you don't have anything by yourself. You're just the adult in that situation, but we're all here with you. Okay.
Right.
The problem is that the guy with the kids and the guy with the cats all feel the same way about their version of the issues. So if my cat dies, it's just as bad as if your mom dies. Sorry, that's just how it is.
Right.
That's how it is in my heart.
Right.
Right. So don't take away from me and compare it to you. Well, you don't know because you're not on the street. Well, I lived a little bit on the street.
But they're two things that can't be compared.
And
Your grief is not larger than my grief.
Yeah, your grief is not larger than my grief, for sure. Right. And so it becomes a room of like no BS. So you start crying and whining, I'll kick you right out. I'll kick you right out. I'll be like, yo, I'm not your therapist and nobody here's your therapist, but we can rise together. Right. Yeah, it's not the pain Olympics. I'm not here to compare with you. Well, you know, I broke my arm. Well, I broke both my legs. Well, I broke my skull. Like, I don't care. We all broke something and we're injured. What we do have in common, other than that, is that we're all going to heal.
We want to fix it.
Yeah, we all want to heal.
Yeah.
See, it's how we look at it. So we don't.
Right.
You can say, I had a hard day. Send me positive vibes. Positive vibes incoming. Or, you know, this person talked to me pretty nasty. See, that's not like a victimization thing. You're showing, telling, describing, figuring out, adding a piece to the puzzle. You know, maybe I act like a meathead sometimes, and I just cannot see. Like, all right, so shout outs to Kenzie and Matt. Kenzie and I are DNA spiritually related, right? So is Matt. Okay. So we're all spiritual family. Now, because we have different ways of describing things and the way we take our time, no bullet noting, Kenzie, it takes a moment to understand where we're coming from because we're different people. We're literally in different
what the real issue is.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to let it kind of flow. And when it flowed, I'm going to tell you right now, I learned more from a conversation with her and Matt about me and about them and about a big thing of my family life through that conversation. But at first, that conversation was confrontational slightly due to political correctness, hierarchies that aren't really there, that people think that are there, perceived stuff, and then unknowing and unawareness. Okay, so you take all those, and you have two good meaning people that are trying to communicate, and you have all that spinning. Okay, when we remove that, we're like, look, I love you, and I had a hard day, and maybe this didn't come out right, and maybe da-da-da-da-da, and I don't understand. Maybe you could explain it. And as this went, I learned, I told her, this was one of the greatest conversations I had in so very long, because you can't have conversations like that.
Right.
Unless you're having it with the person or the people you're involved with, because no one else understands it.
Right.
From that layer and that level. Right. Because I'm setting things off in them and they're setting things off in me in good ways. Like they knew something a year prior and I knew something now. And when those two things hit, it created this exponential thing that would have never, ever, ever been seen if we didn't just go, okay, let's talk.
Right.
And it was awesome. See, I got excited because that's where it's at. Patterns and cycles. What keeps coming up? What keeps showing itself? I'm coming off topic now. And I'm just kind of relating it back to everything we're talking about. The portals come in, they take away that negative, the fighting starts to rile up, everyone's getting triggered, everything, and then boom, full moon, no one's fighting. Right? Everyone's understanding. And move up a little bit, son or daughter, I'm not quite sure. And you start to say, oh, this is what's up. Now, we've had the ability to have those conversations before, right?
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah, I agree.
Past relationships, other family members, but now seems to be the right time. Why? Because we're learning. And once you start to learn this stuff and you become aware of it, you're responsible for it. You're responsible for acting the actual part. You're responsible for being more kind and more compassionate, knowing that that's actually what's happening.
Right.
All right. Important things to remember during these
Mm-hmm.
times. Very important. Thus leading to beautiful things. So my point with all this is that it's time to like lock it in a little bit. Like my information, I let it out, but I'm noticing people are just gathering information. They're not actually doing anything. So to me, that feels like it falls on deaf ears, but I'm putting it out there anyway. And I'm not going to stop putting it out there, but I'm also not going to stop me. So what you found here on the first day of Fearless is not the same thing you will find
Now,
on Fearless at
course
all,
not.
ever. I will never go back. I will help scoot you on your way if that's what you need. I'll answer questions all day. But if I feel it's falling on deaf ears,
we need to keep evolving.
I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just letting it go because it's not worth it, right? It's not worth the half-assing because I have to level up. So it's in now my modality in the new 13-year cycle
Mm-hmm.
to start the cycle. There's 2 or 3 13-year cycles popping off at the same time. And there was the first one that happened, then a second one happened. And I found myself and you repeating 13. Oh, the new cycle started. And then a new one started just the other day. I was
Really?
like, me and Kenzie just spoke. We just spoke about change and how it's
Really?
good to change for us to grow and then come back to teach again. Right? Like to hit that next checkpoint.
Right.
So that new 13-year cycle started. So in that cycle, all the negative things that have ever come up that'll try to interfere
But
and
that's
or
what
stop
it does.
you
It closes
reveal
all of that
themselves.
out.
They reveal themselves and it allows you to
Yeah.
go, whoop,
Done.
done, pull the contract, done. Or revisit the cycle. And the cycle moves faster and faster. And if it's dark, it gets darker and darker so fast. So the spiral just reacts negatively to you instead of reacting positively.
Right.
Right. So to change that and actually do that, we have to hunker in. In other words, like, I'm not going to be looking forward to any ayahuasca with anyone because I got to do me now. Right. Like locking in, not to say I'm going to do ayahuasca. I'm saying I can't share energy with you because it's time to lock you out of the energy. It's time to lock everyone out that's not involved in literally that step. Right. So if we were in, like, let's say the next step to get into the rocket ship to get onto the moon, and we were doing pool training that day, I got to take the training. If you didn't pass your test and didn't get the pool training, I still have to go in. So I'm going. Right now, if you don't understand that, that step from one to the other, I can explain what I did, or I'll give you a better understanding. Paula will give her version of that step. People will come out and do it, but I'm not going to, I still have to go make the step, get into the rocket. I got to take my place and my seat. Once I do that, we can turn back and start to teach and bring up again, because we hit these points where it's just information based. I just want to hear what's next. What did the Arcturian say? What did this say? Well, this one said Arcturians aren't real. Blows raspberries right in your face. This one says Arcturians are taking you to the rapture. I blow raspberries in your face too. But does that mean Arcturians don't exist? Come on, give me a break. You think everything's the mental MK Ultra, or do you got a few guys trying to help you and break you out? Just using examples. Think about it. Think about it. So if you hate tests, why come to a university? Interesting question. Maybe because you hate tests so much. You have to learn to break that cycle. That's all I'm going to say about that. So as things present themselves in these cycles, hey, Parker, as things present themselves, you're going to get the negative is going to show its face. It's going to reveal itself to you. And now your choice point has come again, your checkpoint. Here it comes. Are we going to dance this dance again? Because we know we've danced this dance how many times and it didn't work. How many more times do you want to revisit the dance? Do you have enough energy to hate someone full time or even part time?
No, I don't have enough energy to hate myself that much. I really don't. I that all had to stop. I don't have enough energy. Right now, we're barely getting through the days because we're having a rough time right now. But on a good day, no, I don't have the time to expend that energy.
Yeah, like people have called me and said, "Oh, I heard you were talking about me. Is that true?" I'm like, if I was talking about you, you'd hear it directly out of my mouth, sir. How's that sound? You're lucky. I'm the guy that shows up when he gets the money, like Jay and Silent Bob. I'll show up on your doorstep, knock on your door, and say, "Did you say this right here?
Right.
Was that you that said this? Okay, hold on." And I pull you right out of the house. So I don't have time to talk about you. I don't have time. Clown shoes, exactly. You are clown shoes, sir. If you think that I'm going to stay in your collective disregard so I can hang out on your level, when meanwhile I'm rocketing past you and everyone else while taking that starship FearLess. We're going up. There's a whole bunch of us. It's a vibration and frequency. When I say that, we're not going up into spaceships. We're literally the spaceship. You're the spaceship. I know you don't want to hear that, right? They don't want to hear that. But when you sit on the couch with your Paula or your Frank or your cat or your dog or whatever, it's like the big magic carpet ride. Right. You're sitting there. You're like, what are we doing here? Everything's moving. Frank said everything's spinning and moving. And so technically I'm here and I'm spinning and moving. The atoms in me are spinning and moving. Everything's spinning and moving. Things are circulating around me. You're the spaceship. You're built with the biological technology, as Aaron would say, right? Shout outs. That can do this. Literally. You're just not taught how to do it. And we're coming online. And early kids now are coming in ready to go. All they want to know is, like Grayson said to me, my nephew, and everyone thinks he has a little trouble with focus and this and that, but he said something so interesting that brought my attention back the other way. When I was like worried about him, I suddenly wasn't worried. I go, man, this kid knows that. That's pretty intelligent. I bet you nobody in your class knows that. So he said to me, you saw Star Wars, right? And I go, I barely touched you. So you saw Star Wars, right? So I go, yeah. And he's 8. So he goes, do you remember when they shot the shot into the Death Star and blew it up? I'm like, of course, it's the best part. He goes, do you remember when the Millennium Falcon flew in and shot Darth Vader's ship and it flew off to the side? I go, yeah, of course. Oh, okay, that's cool, right? And then the shot goes in and you have seconds to leave before the Death Star explodes, right? I go, okay, yes. He goes, all right. It's actually physically impossible to get the distance the X-Wing fighters and the Millennium Falcon got from an exploding moon. It's impossible. The shock wave and the radius would have destroyed everyone in that area. And I went, what did you just say?
Because he's right.
Yeah, he not only was he right, shocked me to my core. I was like, oh, get this kid a cape, right? So they're ready. We're still teaching wrong. Right. If we were, one of the beings showed me that they teach on their planet, the children, everything, the advanced stuff first. So they, whatever they're teaching, how they teach it, they get all the newest stuff, the latest thing. The littlest kids get them, and they're taught how to use them and everything. And then they master them immediately and teach the older guys better ways. And it just keeps flipping and evolving instead of teaching them last. Like, well, I'm going to get a job at NASA one day. Well, what's the problem on the earth? We have global issues and global warming and pollution and all this. Okay, well, we're going to ask the children by teaching them everything at that level that we know that they can handle. And then they're going to, with their fantastic minds,
problem solve,
figure it out. Period. That's how it works. And you're like, those kids wouldn't be dummies. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's basic. You ask a kid when he's that little, what do you do? And you present the problem. And he's like, but why don't you love each other? And you're like, wait, what? Yeah, like you're black, you're white, you're whatever,
green,
red,
blue,
blue. Why don't you hug and hang out for gym time? I mean, what do you like to play? You want to play baseball? Well, I'll play baseball. Do you know how to catch? Like, why aren't you doing that? And you're like, are you kidding me? And it's like, no, it's that simple.
I'm telling you,
the further you get into ayahuasca and all that other stuff, they tell you stuff like,
love your
neighbor. Be kind.
Be kind.
Love yourself.
People don't think it could be that easy.
What's
be kind.
What's the infinite number fractal of the mathematical universe? The 8, the figure 8, it goes like this to connect it to someone else and then live that way in perfect symbiosis. Get it? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's pretty simple, but it's the hardest thing to do because we're all crazy, right?
Because we're afraid.
We're afraid. You come from fear. You come from hope. What is it going to be? Right? What do you want?
What do you want from me?
Yeah. That's and what do you want? And what do you want from the information?
Right.
Right. We keep feeding you information. What are you doing with it? Are you feeding anyone else with it?
Are you using it? Are you applying it?
Theoretical translation, right there. The master of it.
That's because I'm fading fast.
Joy, you're doing pretty good. Your eyes look great. Someone in the room said they sent you Reiki.
I know a Reiki healing. Thank you. I can actually breathe through my nose, but I still feel crappy. But thank you.
It is.
I'm actually.
I got to be honest. It's a little warm in here.
It is.
Dare I say moist?
Don't say that word. I hate that word.
Well, you have a choice. You could either take over microphone duty, or you could.
Want to put the air conditioner on?
Yeah. I think
okay.
it's time.
All right. I'll do.
Just because
Sure. I got it.
I'm gonna make. She's getting up, right? But if she was sitting here, and I was like, "Yo," so I was talking to my mother before. I was telling her it was quite warm in the house, and she's like, "Tell Paula to put the air condition on 69 to keep it at a constant low on 69." I'm like, everybody's parent should have just became weathermen and stuff. They're like perfect at it. They should be the people when you go into the doctor's office to take your temperature. Do you know it's 98? It should be 97. If it's 100, it's too high. I didn't want to say moist, but the walls have a little bit of sweat, and when the bald head starts gleaming, that's when you know it starts happening. So yeah, and I'm going to make a point with this that's ridiculous, but it's still the point. I roll.
Oh, you Frank? Oh, you're
Oh, I'm going to do it. So I roll smoke, right? So I've been rolling for 25 years, right? And I progressively got it never changed. It got to one way and stayed that way. And then I said, this sucks. It just sucks. So, but wait, it's smokable. Paul's like, just do it. Use it.
I'm good. I'm good. I have no complaints.
Right? Everyone's like, oh, bro, it's rolled. It's perfect. And then they're smoking it and they're like, yeah, this needs work. So now I've been doing that for 25 years. It's like, who gets it? Who can roll? Who can do? There's all these friggin' excuses. Well, why don't you just roll it the right way or a good way, your version of what you think is workable and good? Why don't you take 5 minutes and sit down and go, well, let's say I roll 20 of these in the course of 3 days, right? When have you stopped? Hypothetically, when have you stopped and said, you know what? I think I'm going to try to roll this correctly.
Yes.
Not the way I roll.
Yes.
Without a shaky hand finger or jazz fingers. Like, what are you going to do? Do you want to do this? Do you want to smoke something good? Do you want to, so metaphorically use this for whatever thing you're doing, right? Like the light went out in the bathroom, but it was the little chain puller thing to turn the light on. So you have to take the whole piece out, and there's like 3 connections for electricity, right? And you got to actually take the wires. You need to shut the power. You need to twist them, right? Now, with everything I've done in here, old Frank would have been like, oh, I guess this is the next thing. Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit of that, remember?
I went into the bathroom.
And then you snapped out of it, remember? You were like, we got to shut the power off before we even try this.
I
it's
love
be
how
like that.
Whenever I get a little, she goes, ah. Okay, so I went into the bathroom and looked, and then I felt excited about it.
Yes, because you realized it was going to be
But when you first look at something like that, you've never seen that. I've seen that, but I took it out and I was like, well, I'm in charge of this.
Yes, this is my responsibility. You're gonna put this in. Yes, I have to fix this. So now
octopus fingers coming out of this thing. I have no clue.
So now,
and I'm like, red to red, black to black, green to green.
But it's
Stop being a baby.
But it's a mental game. You either win it or lose it in your head before it happens.
Yes.
And you chose to win it. You were like, oh, I see what we have to do. We have to coordinate. We have to shut the power off. Then I have to unscrew this. And then I have to just look at the way the other one comes out. And then I have to put this one on the way.
Screw, pull out.
Exactly.
And look at the wire color.
No problem.
Done.
Or watch a YouTube video 5 minutes before, because there's a YouTube video for everything that has to be done in a house. Right? You fixed the outdoor light, didn't you? The light over the
over the front door.
Yeah, you had to. It was blinking. It was like a scary, like coming home, and it was like a scary motel blinking.
Yeah, it was cute when I thought it was me walking under the light, transforming. Oh, look, I'm changing the electricity.
I thought it was scared when it was blinking. You were.
Yeah, then it went out, and I was frightened. I was standing outside. Dark. Like, man, it's dark out here without this light. Ain't that right, Teddy?
Yes.
We have a little bear and a teddy bear.
Allegedly.
So, what you do with this information counts across the board. Like, you're wise to it. It's your turn. It's your purpose to take it to that next level, or to take it to that next detail, or to take it into a place where you're not used to taking it because you're not taking any chances.
Well, it's the comfort zone. Out of the comfort zone, wherever you're comfortable, you got to move that line. He's reading his notes. Reading your notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now in the news. It was important to talk about the upgrading because I'm going to shut down avenues and venues of attachment to me so I can do what I have to do to upgrade.
Yeah, but I think we all have to do that every now and then.
No, I know,
you
but
have to break attachments or
no, I mean
just
literally.
break connection for a while.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
and to do the actual work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I suggest everyone in one way or another, one foot in front of another, 10% a week,
Yeah.
perhaps 1% at a time in the proper forward direction to spiral up and out and to do the right thing for yourself.
Oh.
Because it's so important. Are we boring you?
No, it's my head is
Are
pounding.
we boring you?
Frank, you never bore me.
Oh my goodness. If Sister Stabile could be here right now, I would love to just watch her come in with the ruler and be like, "Ah." I would do John Wick on her. I wouldn't let her touch anyone here. I'd be like,
You would do that to her.
I'd be like, Sister Stabile,
How old
look
is
what
she
I learned to
now?
do with a pencil.
How old is she?
Oh, she
Sister
passed.
Yeah, she oh, did she pass?
Yeah.
You found out she passed?
Yes, I did.
Really?
Yes, she passed away.
Hi.
I love her. It's not her fault.
Wasn't she a nun when your mother went to that school?
Yes. She said to me once, "So I heard that you knew I had purple hair before I became a nun. I was a teacher here." So I was like, "Well, that's quite interesting. Like 110 years ago must have been quite the place around here. It must have been like building the Roman Colosseum."
That's terrible.
And she goes, "Do you not think I know what you guys are doing with your hands in your pockets?"
Oh,
and
when
I
you're
went, "What?"
holding
And she
jiggling
goes,
change.
"Jiggling change. Masturbation." I was like, "Wait, what'd you just say to me?" And then she went up and down the row screaming, "Did you think I didn't have sex before I was a nun?" And we were like,
"Oh,
what?
my. I don't want to know that."
We didn't even know what to say. And we were like,
Yeah.
somehow she equated 6th graders with their hands in their pockets to masturbation.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I don't know. It was the funniest thing I've ever been part of in school like that.
I could tell you talk
People
about
were
her
just
often.
walking by her at that point.
I think everyone
change,
who listens to
and
the
then
show knows
we're getting
Sister Stabile.
slapped.
Yeah.
She would just walk up to you and go, "Oh, you think that's funny, huh? You think masturbation's funny?" And just whap. And you're like, wow, there is Reverend Mother was a nun who's from Italy. Well, she was the Reverend Mother. And I don't know what made her so much more important, but maybe because her name was like Italian and Latin and reverence. I don't know, but she showed up and she didn't speak any English.
I don't think that's how it works.
This
but
chick
anyway.
swung like Rocky. I'm like, y'all should have went into
You got
MMA.
hit like
I don't
that.
even know what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You could put
Oh, thank
a
you.
fat kid in an arm lock like that. Are you crazy? You should have been a cop. Like you should have been on the private police force for the Queen with the reptilians, and you can take people down for them. You can be like, I'm the human that rolls with these punks. Well, she was dangerous, is what I'm trying to say.
I can't believe you got hit like that.
They used to walk around with a bell, ding a ling a ling a ling.
You hit my arm again.
Big bells. Yeah, but I just tapped it.
Yeah, but
I just tapped
you're just tapping it.
So
with
if
those
you said, "Hey,
fingers,
Frank."
Stop.
Yo, can I tell you a secret? Well, Paula likes off air. You ever see the cats making biscuits? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So what you do with the information is very important. Please use it safely and be responsible. And remember, the universe rewards bravery. All right. So we watched something today. Sorry, my friend. That was more of my friend. That we watched. What was that with Will Smith?
The living something. It was the something
The Living
Planet on Netflix.
All right. So
I don't think it's called.
they had guys that were in the space station watching.
Oh, viewing the planet.
Viewing
Yeah,
the
I don't know what
planet.
it's called. It's on Netflix. Will Smith narrates
Oh,
it.
sorry. So they were taking pictures from, and it's funny how they always get HD pictures of everything but the UFOs and all that. But
yeah, I don't get that. They
Yeah.
saw a sandstorm go across 2 continents.
so they were going around.
No
they saw the
UFO
sandstorm
activity.
Take Africa.
Yeah,
Completely just
yeah,
engulf
sandstorm,
Africa. Right?
sandstorm.
The guy was like, you can see this.
And that sandstorm feeds
Oh, wait. So
the Amazon.
he said, I come back around, and then the storm is going over the ocean.
To the Amazon.
Headed towards the Amazon.
And that
which is on the other side.
So
when they come back around,
Yes.
boom, it's over the Amazon.
And that sandstorm helps feed the Amazon.
So the stuff you don't get from sand that you need from that manna that
raises the ocean floor, actually.
Yes.
It was so weird.
So
it's so interesting.
It rains property, it rains minerals, it rains all the little things that you need that they don't get there.
Yeah.
Right. So we were saying, look, it's like Earth calls up for, we need 90 pounds of salt. Right. We have no way to get it here.
Mhm.
All tracks are down. Mother Nature goes, we got it. Get the elementals on the phone.
Yes.
And the sandstorm kicks up over there and brings it all the way to the Amazon. So as they're burning the Amazon on one side, it's growing on another. They don't tell you this stuff, though. And everyone gets all the things they need. Now, they can't see that from space. They just see the storm hitting. So then they put a girl on top of what is the largest standing tower.
Oh, in the
and
Amazon.
Literally, in the Amazon.
Yeah.
And then for her to study what it looks like, because they can't see through the clouds.
The air. So this it's like the airflow is like a river basically in the air,
delivering all of this stuff to you,
nutrients that the plants need under the ocean to do what they.
So they showed
what they do.
The sand hitting and then going into the water, and then the water being absorbed into the trees. And they said, this is what the trees will look like if you could actually see what they're doing. And all of a sudden they lit up, you see the water being sucked through them. And then the water on the leaf, that all these bubbles started forming, almost like they were sweating, right?
Because they're being watered from the inside, not from the outside.
Now, inside of that bubble, we've talked about this on the show. When I say, when you're the all, you'll understand this.
Yeah.
I lived a moment.
How much life is
inside
in one droplet of water?
Yeah, it's not even a raindrop. It came up the sweat pour through the plant.
Yeah.
I lived in that and understood the biology in that in one of my lifetimes, and I was just as aware as I am now. And then when it was over, it was a moment because it sweats and then it drips and falls.
Yeah.
But there's like an infinite time thing in there. Like it feels like a lifetime. It doesn't feel like, oh, I've dripped in and when you're in that, it feels comparable to this kind of. Like there's no real difference except what you are in there, I guess. But
no,
your awareness,
I don't think there is.
Yeah, your consciousness pulls it in just the same.
I don't think there is, because when I had my QHHT healing, I brought myself back to when I was a point of light. I physically saw a point of light, and I knew that point of light was me. I recognized it, and they helped me. The therapist helped me slow it down. I felt like I was being sent back too fast each time. And they helped me slow it down, but it was terrible. It was terrible. It was like, okay, you're going back. You're going back. You're going back. I'm not ready yet. I need time to process. I need time to heal.
So one of the things you can say with that situation, right? In terms of a learning experience, how we say you'll keep returning until you figure it out or whatever. Maybe in that situation, because you were aware of the point of light returning so many times, that it was your opportunity in the school to say enough.
Yeah.
No more of that.
No more.
Right. So they had to bring that up specifically.
No, because, it's like when we talk about the unemployed angels and, we talked about that a long time ago on one of the shows there. You need help, you ask, and the universe is ready and willing to give you the help that you need. There were all of these non-human entities and angels out there. I call them the unemployed angels. They're just waiting to help. You need help getting to work. You ask them to lead the way. You need assistance getting home. It's late and you want to walk from your car to home. You ask them to guide you home. You need a little bit more faith in that moment. You ask for more faith in that moment and you receive it. You ask, the universe provides everything that we need. We just don't know how to see or how to receive what we're asking for.
Or perceive it.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the old thing where you're on the roof and it's flooding and you're like, God, come and save me. And the boat passes.
Yeah, and you're like, no, I'm waiting for God.
The helicopter guys come and then you die and you go see God. You're like,
I sent you a boat, a plane, and a helicopter. Why didn't you get on?
Yeah, and it's like, well, I was waiting for you. And it's like, you're me. Stop it.
Exactly.
You're getting caught in this weird loop. Stop. Pull yourself out and take a look. And it's like, oh, I could just get in the boat. It makes things so much easier.
Right.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's,
That is what's up.
Oh, boy, right? So watching that, he said something. He said, this is the microbiology of the planet
Mhm.
being able to be seen in the macro from the color that it gives off, so you can actually see it from space.
From
The guy was
space,
like,
yeah.
it's almost like you're supposed to see it from here in this color. Like you're supposed to know that. So at this level, you're watching as above, so below. And as you go in, it just keeps opening. It's like
Sure, it's peeling back
the
all those
infinite
layers.
fractal.
Yeah. Mhm.
It opens. Oh, there's another one. Which brings me to my next one, right? We'll just keep connecting it. The infinite fractal that you open and you step through the portal. Pods, jump off points. It seems to be a thing coming up lately. We see a lot of things like drawings in books with Anubis standing over coffins, watching bodies. We've heard of stories through us and others waking up in pods.
Mhm.
Okay. So those fractal pieces are like returning to people because it keeps coming up recently. Like,
Right,
oh, what does this
right.
look like? I posted something in the FearLess group. It was the healing pods. So I tagged Kenzie in it and Matt and be like, oh, the pods, because we talked about them. But one of the things that's really weird is that everyone's wondering, like, well, am I Arcturian and did I pod in from the spaceship? Right? Oh, well, then I'm just that, and I came in from there. And it's like, no, check
I
this
don't
out.
think it works like that.
At the here's source, right? The ball, womp, womp, it's the microphone, womp, it's just the ball of source. Okay. Now you have to enter source to even get in to the universal matrix. Right. So you have to get in a pod of some kind, and you jump your consciousness in on source's level. Womp, womp.
Through human birth.
Well, first, let's go back even further. First, you got to be born into the universe. You're not here. You're not anywhere here. You're outside of the matrix itself, out of time, looking in, going, I have to get in there. Then your birth, you make your choices and you're birthed through source. But how are you birthed through? Do you plug in again from that level with tech of some kind, or do it with your innate abilities? And then you go down into another layer. And then from there, you're on a spaceship and you're like, oh, I'm Arcturian or Pleiadian. And then I got into a tank and then I shot in here. Then you go, well, how did I get actually in here? Well, the only way to get in here, the right way, if you want to be naturally born and everything, you project the consciousness in, you go through the natural birth. Then you're made up of everything that Earth is made of mother. You're literally made up of mother and all the star stuff and all of everything else. It's the living library.
Mhm.
You're made up creator of everything that has to be put together to actually hold a creator light being in the body. That's the technology. We did it. We built something and we can put him in it and he can go into that area. Now, we were already in this area technically. We just entered a new form, and then our awareness got shifted completely and our focus was completely off, and then a manipulation occurred. But we've been moving through this the whole time, jumping in from all different ports. Now imagine your fractal. A part of me is Pleiadian, a part of me is Arcturian, a part of me is a king, a part of me is a poor guy, a part of me is this character and that character, and this one is from another place and interdimensional. Those are all coming back to the one singularity. So you'll catch them podding themselves and sending the consciousness back. I know it sounds weird. This is what's been witnessed over and over and over again. I've seen the jump off points from out of the matrix, out of time, in the matrix, in the faux matrix, right? It's like to get back in, you were in, now I'm in the matrix. Now it's like you got to go back into the trap by going back into your body again. So you witness all the layers again. And you're like, wow. So all of me is returning to me, but you're already whole. It's more like a fractal is like a piece of you that's experiencing it, but really it's just a focus point. So it's not really leaving you and it's separate. Like it doesn't break off, go do it and come back. It's attached to you the whole time. That's why people say, no, I'm a whole being. Yeah, you're a whole being for sure. That's fractal doing that. Don't be ridiculous. Everyone's doing that. That's what the amnesia is, right? And I tell people, and if you get a guy, you got a human or what looks like to be a human that doesn't have that like restrictor on, then you're dealing with something else completely, right? Kenzie and I were discussing when the lights come on, who's going to actually be standing there, which is kind of weird. It's like it might not be when the lights go on who's standing there like in a room. It might be you hit a frequency, a vibration, the energy steadies and becomes constant. and you did the work, and now you're standing in that, and you're like, oh, I'm in the 5D frequency, so it looks different, it feels a little different, and then other people are not aware of it. They're changing, they're still going through the process, but they're a lot slower, or some of them are, are over here, and then they speed up quickly and then stop for a little bit. It's all personal, it's all your own thing. So you're aware that they can't see it, or they're not aware of it, but you are. So when those lights come on, how many are standing there? Who is aware of this?
Right,
Where's my soul family? It's more like that.
Right.
Then lights come on and you're standing in a room and you're like, oh, look what it is. I figured it would be this. It's like that in one layer, but not here. Here, it is what it is. We are here to change the world. We are here to be the ambassador to Mother Earth, Aya, Gaia, whatever you feel like calling her. So one of the last topics for tonight, I just want to throw out there because people have asked me about the beings, the different kinds, the dramas that play out, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things is being an ambassador from Earth, right? I feel now as I'm unlocking, I'm the great all, just as you're the great all, right? Yes, you're the feminine, I'm the masculine, but you got the masculine just like you got the feminine, and vice versa. So we're working on unlocking that. And it's funny, as we're breaking through these beings from these fractals, or the reality outside of the matrix that we're actually seeing, that have had nefarious plans to do certain things, to show up on a cloud and say, oh, look, it's the new guy, or whatever, the Yankee, or I'm the creator, I'm the Anu, and this is the God of the Old Testament, the New Testament that loves you, not that old guy that hates you. And all that's still there rocking. But I want you to understand this. Those characters and stuff, they're great. They're part of the story. That's fine. If you interact with them on that level, as if you're from that fractal, or as if you're from that reality only, you're doomed to their agendas. So I've had them roll on me recently over and over in armor, and we've discussed this so much, but if you come to a creator dressed in armor, war armor, right? And you show up and you're like, you're not doing your job. Well, I'm standing naked cooking bread in the kitchen or something, right? I'm making cookies, and you're yelling at me in your Anunnaki style with your war hammer and your war stuff and your weapons and your tech, and I'm standing there basically naked. And you're trying to command me to do something that you swore I was already in on over there, and that we're going to do it over here. But the problem is, when you're here, you're born of this. So you're made up of this stuff.
Right.
I'll say, at what point of the joke it flips the other way, where you think you're going to get the job done, build a body made of mother for Frank. Frank goes in it, and now you're like, okay, we're going to do this stuff and make more of a problem on mother. And we're busy getting out of the problem, and they're offering this weirdo solution, like you're not the solution yourself, like they're the solution. And it's like, no, you're. Let's just say for a second, you're either interdimensional or you're from another planet. You're not from here, so you're not born of here. You're not the ambassador for this place. Even if I had nefarious plans put into play as I was coming here, which it didn't, and I agreed with you, which it didn't, and then came here and forgot all about it and learned who I was and then activated. And now you're standing here like, oh, don't forget the plan. Activate everything so we can reset the matrix. Really? It's going to save everyone? I think someone's full of poo-poo. I think we got a couple of poop containers. So be aware that any character dressed for war, anything military-esque, shining too bright, it just doesn't look right, shining with the fake gleam, you got to be aware of this stuff, and you got to be ready, and you got to understand that it's going to be offered. It's going to be given to you on a silver platter.
Right.
All for the agenda's purpose. Remember, an activated creator is priceless in this universe, and probably many others. An activated creator that knows what's going on, but is like, yes, I'm with you on your agenda. Even if it skates that natural law agenda, and you're like doing the right thing, but you're just skating by. It's like, well, that's not optimum timeline. Did you ask if we can do this here? Did you ask Mother? Is it okay if we dominate and rule society from the other planet here and pretend to be gods? Okay, I'll wait for the answer. She said no. So sorry, go home. Because that's what I'm telling them. Go home. Your time here is done. You've had your chance. Well, these characters would be considered Anunnaki, hands up and hands down. Dudes like Enki and the brothers and all that other nonsense. You guys can't have it. We are the representatives of the planet. That's like saying, oh, yeah, you could move in on my land right there and you could build a toilet right outside my window. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're done with that. I think it's time to shut down the nonsense and the distractions and worry about you, not what they want, not what they want, not what they say. Who cares what they say? No, I don't need permission. What do you think at ET lands? I got to need your permission. I live here. I'm made up of this place, not you. Who are you to tell me anything? Yeah, free will. Very important to understand this stuff. They just show up and whisper something in your ear. Oh, that's supposed to be all good? If it's anything less than you rising to the top and being the best you can be, it's not good enough for you because it's not the creator, right? It's just not it.
Nope.
You know, I wanted to leave you on a high note with that tonight because it's important to remember you are the all. That might be a hard thing to ingest. And if you can't ingest it, you might not be it because we know who we are, right? And you'll know hearing me and seeing me, the difference, right? You know the difference, right? The warm, comforting shell and energy of a creator being and that of a cold reptilian kind of energy. Or even colder synthetic energy. Yeah. Thanks, Rox. I love you so much. And I love each and every one of you guys so much. I thank you for taking the time to just listen to us go on and on about awesome things. But it's time to put it all into play. It's time to going to learning, to being like on the job training with training wheels off. It's time to science this stuff.
Yeah.
Get up, get ready. Get ritualized, get used to it. Rituals aren't bad. Rituals are great. Watch this. Ready? Every day I wake up. Paul, I love you.
Yep.
Wait, that wasn't the response I was looking
No,
for.
I love you too, Frank.
There we go. There we go. Right? Good ritual right there.
Yeah.
Before starting or after the show, telling everybody you love them. Holding the door open. Saying greetings. Looking someone in the eye. Shaking their hand. Saying no when you need to. Walking away when necessary. You know, one of my friends didn't say no and had to let his mouth run the other day and he got cut on his face, like with a box cutter, like held by his head and because of his right now. I said, why don't you just be quiet? He's like, I can't. You cut me off. I said, that happened from cut. I go, how bad was it? He goes, nah, he just kind of rolled through the sign and cut in front of me and said something. And I was like, what's up? And I jumped out of the car and bang, you lose. Was it worth it? Your beautiful face now has a scar from here to here. Was it worth it? The lessons are going to come fast and hard. So be prepared. Be prepared to break those cycles, break those chains. Creators, rise. It's time, right?
It's time.
And we love you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
You know, it's time to tune out the old frequencies and tune into the new ones, right? Time to change that frequency and tune in to you. Right? The great you. I want you to do that. Next week, we got a test on it. All right. Love you so much. And
love you so much.
Remember, the universe rewards bravery and stay fearless, everyone. Until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. And remember to go to I Am We Are Fearless. Remember, all the links are right down there. All these cool links, the Amazon portals and the website, how to get in touch with me, anything you need. And who is that? Free Jim Moat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
donation. We love you so much. Free Energy Mobile. Sorry, I can't see from this distance on the computers all the way back on the wall. But thank you so much for everything. And you know what? Sometimes just being like grateful.
Yeah, gratitude.
Gratitude, right? And doing something with a little purpose and intent is all you need to do to get through this.
We love you.
And we love you so much. Have a good night and stay fearless.